Welcome, everyone. Thanks for attending today's Shop Talk, where we will be hosting Sean Boyle in this Journey to Success session, where we bring on guests and get to know their story and how they started with Matterport and where they've taken Matterport and where they hope to, go in the future with Matterport. So, and how that's kind of helped their business. So, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate your attendance. Go ahead and just take this moment to make sure that audio is working and you can hear us. And that's it. We'll go ahead and get started. We don't have any kind of presentation. I'm just going to be talking with Sean and, and try and hopefully get some information from Sean that will hopefully help you in your endeavors with Matterport in your business. All right. So we've got a good number of people. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, just wanted to point out the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom browser. Go ahead and use that. If you have any questions specifically for Sean, go ahead and ask those through the Q&A panel. Obviously, Zoom, you're all familiar with it. There's also the chat panel. I definitely encourage everyone to go ahead and use that for any other kind of communication. Think of this as kind of a small networking event, like a meetup. And chat with one another. You can definitely raise questions there if you do have any for the rest of the group and anybody else who is attending. So by all means, see this as somewhat more collaborative than just Sean and I speaking. But definitely if you do have questions for Sean or myself, then go ahead and reach out in the Q&A panel. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Sean Boyle, co-founder of Momentum 360. You guys are out of Philadelphia?
Correct.
Fantastic. And I know you've got a lot of stuff going on there on the East Coast in general and throughout the entire country, but we'll get to that. What I wanted to do was just kind of get started with how you discovered Matterport, like how that came about, how you kind of got in. You co-founded Momentum 360, and I believe your partner Mac purchased a Matterport Pro 2. What's the story there?
Yeah, Amir, thank you so much for the time today. It's going to be great to speak to everybody. So it's a crazy story. I actually was a student at Penn State at the time, and I actually was looking for a marketing internship. Mac hired me as an intern, and I was working with a couple blockchain conferences at the time. I sold, I think, like $250,000 that summer. And then we started to get involved with Matterport. I kind of just had the camera in the office. I was like, are we doing anything with this? Like, what is this thing? It's a big block. It looks cool, but what is it? And Mac was telling me we can do these three-dimensional tours with, a business or real estate. And then my mind just kind of blew up. I like that emoji, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, like the possibilities are just endless. So while I was at Penn State, still being a student, I tried to set the foundation of building locations out, of connecting with people, networking, talking to other businesses and saying, hey, is this something that's lucrative? And a lot of people, especially in 2020, when COVID was going on, we're like, oh my God, we need this. Like, this is a necessity. You know what I mean? So when the pandemic was really going on and starting, that's where we kind of made our mark, so to speak, where we were growing all these locations outside of Philly and getting contractors to where we have about locations in every state in the US and then 15 countries as well. We have about, give or take, 1,500, 1,600 contractors that, we can give out a job on pretty much anywhere in the world right now. So wow. It's, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. So you're saying it was about 2020-ish that you saw the black box, the Matterport Pro 2, and just kind of starting to get inspired by the possibilities with that, and took off from there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a little bit before that, like 2018, 2019. 2020 was actually when I graduated Penn State, and that's when I went full throttle. I was done studying, all the things at Penn State and doing all that kind of stuff. And I really had this focus and love, honestly, of this technology. I was like, wow, this is going to change the world. The fact that someone can go on their phone or desktop and check out a virtual tour and book, a booth in a restaurant and that restaurant can then track that as revenue, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So, and there's so many different use cases, which I'm sure we're going to get into, but it was really just, for me, I've always loved content and creating it. And then with Matterport as well, it was kind of just a perfect love and a perfect situation. So it was great.
Nice. So you really found yourself with the whole 3D technology. It's pretty cool. Like the first, one of the things that they used to do when hiring new employees at Matterport is here's a camera, go scan your place. It's really neat seeing it in 3D. Like it's very cool. So I definitely think that's a good selling point for anybody, I guess, into photography and tech as I am.
Sure.
Awesome. So basically, you get started, and I mean, Mac had the momentum going with Google Street View and really helping out businesses, and you took this Matterport Pro 2 and said, I'm going to take it to the next level and help these businesses, our clients, by also offering them 3D tours.
Right. Yeah. So Mac, my business partner, Mac Frederick, he runs the digital side of the business, helping small businesses grow with SEO, PPC, web dev. And then for 360, this was like another tangent of the business that wasn't even, around until I got there and really started things up. And then now we're kind of neck and neck in terms of the exposure now, working with all these different clients. And it's great because we can say, hey, this small business, you need a virtual tour. And then on this side, I think it's, hey, this is a small business we did a virtual tour for. Let's try to upsell them some digital marketing. So it's a good cross sell between both sides of the company. So the whole Momentum umbrella is really a great use case because it's just interchangeable.
So you're seeing businesses who have a virtual tour, but they don't have the digital marketing part. So you can pitch them, that as well as that service on top of what they already have, as well as businesses who don't have this or the other, and you can kind of give them the full package.
Exactly. Yeah. So it comes full circle, and it definitely provides the most value, I would say, to a small business or real estate, which is about 50% of our 360 business as well.
We had the other day Joe Haley, I think, on a couple weeks ago or months ago, and she's into Google Street View. I know that's a huge thing for SEO and driving traffic to businesses. With Matterport, and obviously you can use that, right? The same way that she did, using the Matterport to very quickly grab this 3D model of a location, and you can use that to upload and get this Google Street View, and that adds traffic and whatnot, and you're communicating with your customers and blah blah blah. How else are you guys taking advantage of the 3D model, the Matterport model? Is there any other techniques that you guys are kind of doing beyond just uploading the panels to Google Street View and using it that way? Is there what else can you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It really is. So I'll start with an easy one. So I would say on average, the people that are getting started with Matterport, a lot of people that are in this call right now that are the early MSPs that are just looking to get into industry, they're probably going to work within real estate. Okay. So I would say if you're doing real estate, do the virtual tour, that's great. But once you get to the small business side of things, you're exactly right. Posting it on Google Street View, posting it on Google My Business is very, very important. But something that's a little bit more advanced is taking those matter tags, those very, very precious matter tags, and using an API or SDK to essentially track the clicks to a designated booking, right? Reservation. So for instance, let's use that restaurant example I previously used. Let's just say, my dad used to have a bar, the Boiler Room, right? It was an Irish bar on 3rd and South Street in Philadelphia. Let's say that there's a Matterport tour of that. You could click a matter tag that says, hey, click this to book using, someone's promo code or something like that. That promo code for that influencer, they get paid off of that. You know what I mean? So that's an easy way for people to say, hey, if you want to be a part of this and get more exposure, that promo code then can be used for I mean, whatever you want to set it as, honestly, but get those bookings and again, just make it more streamlined for you to obviously get more digital presence. And then just a blanket overview, you're using matter tags within Matterport to book. So like instead of using Open Table, instead of using like the StubHub where you have like a bird's eye view, where you can maybe see, I mean, in some stadiums you can see pictures, but not like a virtual tour where you can actually walk through everything and then say, I want to sit right here. And I mean, like you have like a perfect view, the price is great. So that's an easy way, especially using the matter tags, where you can use that booking feature. And again, it can be any type of niche. I just use the restaurant and stadium example because that's what we do. You know what I mean? But I would say that's a great idea for people that are looking to get into a little bit more advanced for their business for sure.
Yeah, nice. Where would a model like that be hosted? Would that be on I shouldn't say hosted, they're all hosted on Matterport, but where would the model be embedded? Where does a visitor, I'm just out there browsing the web and I am at this restaurant's website, would the Matterport model be on the restaurant's website, and through the model itself, I can just like click a tag on any one of the tables that I want to book?
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, definitely need to have it on the website. That's beyond anything. We know that already, but we're also starting to see in different marketing campaigns as well. With sending outbound emails, people will simply just put the Matterport tour inside of that email, or like a Google Ads campaign, Facebook Ads campaign, where you can see it right from there. So you can click to the tour, and then you can kind of have that full perspective and book from there. The websites, that's like standard, that's fundamental. What I would like to see, honestly, is Matterport incorporate the matter tags on Google Street View. I think a lot of people would also like that feature as well, because when you're browsing the internet, what's the number one thing that you probably hop onto when you're searching locally? A Google My Business account. So you click the Google My Business account, and then, I mean, this is probably a Google Street View issue. I don't know. I don't work for Matterport, but it would be awesome if you could see the matter tags on that Google My Business where you post it. And then that would be so much easier rather than just posting it on the website. And like, we're hoping they go from the Google My Business to the website. It's one less step ultimately that we're saving more time, and we're definitely generating a lot more money.
You mentioned something that just kind of triggered something in my head. I know you do a lot of work on social media, and that I assume helps, promote the business and kind of get you out there as an expert, which is something that I would highly encourage everybody really to do, is to just like put yourself out there. You've got a YouTube channel. It's awesome. I really like the content, really cool. And so you had this video, I think one of the more recent videos with like a question Q&A that you did like a week or two ago.
Right.
And in there you talked about the family bar, and the fact that you scanned that. I think that was one of your first scans that you did, and one of the first models that you did.
Correct. Yeah.
And your dad was kind of nitpicky about some of the things. Can you kind of go into that? Because I think it's great to hear, someone who just kind of got into it and didn't have the background in scanning, but really stepped up, your game as a result of a client, right? This happened to be your dad, but a client who, may have, kind of driven you nuts.
Yeah, thank God it was my dad, right? No, but yeah, it was one of my first scans, and I did it with the Pro 2, but I didn't use any of the window and mirror features that make it look a lot better, especially for the dollhouse. So I kind of half-assed the scan just because I wanted to generate something for the bar. But after my dad, and he doesn't have a photography background, you know what I mean? He just has, I guess, like common sense, and was like, yeah, like there's a couple things here where you need to fix. You do this. I'm like, Dad, like you're nitpicking, you're being crazy. He's like, no, I'm not being crazy. Because when you have these larger type of clients, they expect this golden standard already with all the edits, everything already forefront. So then in the back of my mind, not only did I think about, like this is a good selling piece in general for Matterport, people need this, but also the quality of it as well. Like, because again, like the thing that is so great about Matterport is, if you're scanning with the camera or with the iPhone, you can click a button, and it essentially creates things for you. You don't need to stitch anything for the most part. You don't need to, go in and do all these elaborate post-production for the most part, right, on average. But you need to take a look at it. Are you scanning with people inside? Are you scanning with windows? Are you scanning with a lot of natural light? Are you scanning with a very unique piece of architecture? You know what I mean? Something that comes to mind is I scanned like a 7-floor single family home in Philadelphia, which is worth several $1 million. And it was a very, very tough scan to do. So you need to have the attention to detail and invest in yourself to say, listen, this is kind of going to be a pain in the butt to shoot, but after it's done, I am going to get so much more business from word of mouth, referrals, et cetera, because my work's great. Sure, you might have gotten that one deal, but don't have that short-term mind effect. Have that long-term effect where you do a great job this time, however long it takes, even if you're breaking even, just starting up, and you're going to get more business that way, especially in your local market. It doesn't matter where you are, Antarctica, Philadelphia, New York, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people, especially myself, I'm very grateful to have my dad have that. If you guys haven't checked out the video, go on Momentum 360 on YouTube and you can check it out. But yeah, it was a fantastic thing. I'm just really grateful my dad was able to point that out because he's exactly right.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really good point. And, something that we hear sometimes from MSPs who want to kind of get into the business and struggle a little bit with just getting started, getting their first clients. And that's what I try and kind of get from everybody that I speak with, like how did that first client, how did that like come about? And a lot of times it's just like you said, like even if you break even, or even if you just go to, local businesses and offer the benefits of having a virtual tour with, a clickable menu, it's just more immersive in that experience, but also being able to, quickly upload that to offer Google Street View and Google My Business Listing and all the SEO that's involved in that. Just do the first couple for free, right? I mean, Joe was saying the same thing is just get out there and have a couple under your belt, and then you can really get the data and the numbers and see, obviously you want to make sure that you know where the business is at before you start and try and gauge where it's at after you start. Now, like what kind of difference you were able to make, with whether it's, just Matterport or Google Street View or anything like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you need to get your hands dirty. That's number one. That's what succeeded for me in Momentum. And, especially with Matterport. I mean, we were talking even before this, like the whole referral program, like not a lot of people are getting leads, but you can't expect that. You need to go and bust your butt and do the work. And I think that's worked so well for us is where we had that mindset. And Joe's also, by the way, she's fantastic. And I have the same mindset. Is listen, if you can do the first couple for free, or if you can get it at cost, even better, do it for a real estate agent. Say, hey, if I knock this out of the park for you, I'm getting all your business. Sign that deal. And then you move on to a restaurant, and then you get that, you milk that, get some hosting from it as well. Reinvest back in the business, get a case study, and then present to all these different types of niches. And that's really how you build it up. It's a relationship type of business. And we're literally in the virtual world, but we still need to have these meetings, calls, text messages. We still need to be human beings. We still need to reach out and at a fundamental level, still have that relationship. You know what I mean? Because if they trust you, they like you, and you have a damn good product, you can't go wrong. You're going to definitely grow from that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. All right. So I also wanted to talk about your network. You brought this up, and I think this is hugely important. And, one of the reasons why, all for, everybody attending today to take advantage of the chat and just talk amongst yourselves and see who's out there, where you're all from and what you guys are doing. But, when you started, there was no network. You didn't have, you said 1,000 to like 1,500. You've got people in every state of this country and even outside this country. MSPs that you trust, that you rely on. And if a job, comes to you from outside of your very specific geo, you're located in Philly, not a problem. You guys can tackle that. How did you go about developing that network and making that as strong as it is today?
Yeah, I mean, because I was the number one photographer for, a good majority of the time. I was doing these gigs, and then we reinvested into a lot of other people as well so they could go ahead and shoot. So the number one thing that I just did was just simply Google Matterport, Pro 2, whatever they're going to be shooting near me, or some variation of that keyword, right? And sure, we'll talk about the job, we'll talk about what's going on, but I want to see who that person is. I want to see what's in their chest, what's beating, you know what I mean? I want to see their long-term goals, their short-term goals. I need to understand them as a person, because if they're a person who, sure, they don't have that much experience, but they're passionate and they're clever enough to, be involved in this stuff, and they really have that long-term mindset where, you know what, I'm in it, I like what you have here, let's run with it. That's the type of person you want to have. And I've talked to thousands of people, Amir, over the past couple of years. And what's really set us apart, I think, from a lot of other companies is really establishing that relationship to say, listen, not only can you shoot with us, but you can do sales as well. You can write blogs. You can be in it as involved in as you want. So I would say people that are looking to generate new contractors, let's just say you're in, I don't know, New York City, and you're looking to get a wider range in the tri-state area, I would Google, Matterport Pro 2 in blank, try to find that person who ranks at the top of Google, hop on a quick call with them and say, look, how are you? What's your name? What are you all about? And get to know them as a human being. And then you transition to the job. I think that a lot of people do the job first, and then they say, oh yeah, this person's going to take care of it. But you don't know, because you don't know them. So you definitely need to spend that time investing in that person. And it just snowballs from there. This person knows one person, this person knows that person. Because here's the thing, if a person that you trust refers someone, you're automatically going to trust that person, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what we were able to do, is say, hey, person in Arkansas knows this person in Denver, blah, blah. So all the pieces started to slowly, methodically get put together. And then it just snowballed to where there was a huge necessity. A lot of people are doing this. And yeah, here we are with the base that we have, but it's a big family. I mean, all of the people that have done jobs for me, I take a bullet for them. They're great people. And it's something where, we wouldn't be where we are now without the team. That's first and foremost. So it's just one of these things where, and people listening right now, if you're looking to get involved with Momentum, send me an email. Go to momentumvirtualtours.com, fill out one of our contacts. I'm sure we'll leave some stuff at the end of this call as well. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for those type of people, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would say that everybody should look to build a network, and it's more like a mesh than everybody's, own little small pool of people. You can have the same MSP, doing jobs for Momentum 360 and doing jobs for Joe or Bossum or, whoever there. So the leads just kind of go around, right? They'll have somebody in your area and they'll call on you to do that. It kind of goes both ways. So nobody should think about it. Oh, there's a limited number of homes out there, and I want them all, to myself. So I'm not going to, do that kind of thing. I just think that's, like you said, it's more short-sighted. And if you're thinking, long-term and you really want to grow and expand your business, I think everybody should be part of a network. It should all kind of be one network.
We live in an abundant world, man. And I wish a lot of people would think of it like that as well. And there's unlimited opportunities. You look at under every rock, every nook and cranny, and you're going to find something. So I totally agree. No matter what the job is, I think we can rely on people, and however the deal is going to be structured, I'm sure everybody can eat and be successful. And I still believe we're early in this as well. The whole virtual reality thing, it really blossomed and boomed in 2020, when COVID was going on. So now we're at this fundamental level where this is a necessity. So now a lot of people are coming to this, and then, I can expect that it's going to be getting a little saturated in this decade, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge opportunity to get involved right now. Find the right people, find your team, and just go out and crush and make stuff happen. So it's a really, really exciting time.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you are in the business and feel like every home has a Matterport tour, you're actually way off, because virtual tours account for maybe, I don't know, 7% of the listings across this country, at least. So that there's a long way to go, and there's a lot of homes, and maybe not all of them you want to do with a Pro 2. Maybe some of them you want to do with a 360 camera, because it's way faster and you don't need that level of measurement accuracy, and that's totally fine. But a lot of people are doing that as well, right? They're using 360 cameras for some things and offering Pro 2 as kind of like an added value, because you can do other things with it that you wouldn't be able to, and so on and so forth. So they have these bundles and package deals for their customers. Is that something that you guys do, by the way? Do you guys offer bundles? How do you break it up for your customers? Is it like fully customized, or do you have kind of like an ABC packages?
Yeah, that's a great question. So how we structure the pricing is really based off the people that we work with. So about 50% of our business is in real estate. So agents, brokerages, et cetera. And then the other 50% is small businesses, right? So with the real estate model, we'll normally have set a la carte package of like photos, virtual tour, video, virtual staging, 3D rendering. We do all those services, so we can cover a real estate agent, no problem. So there's that. And then for the small business, we'll roughly charge, industry standard 8-10 cents per square foot plus hosting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great opportunity to get a lot, some revenue, some recurring revenue with that hosting. But it really makes sense for us, because the real estate model, that home is only going to be available, especially in today's market, for what, like up to 3 months, I'd say, like on average, maybe, probably a little sooner. So it doesn't make sense to charge hosting for that. But with the small business, it might be saving their business. Who knows? You know what I mean? God forbid, if we have another shutdown again, people can order DoorDash, whatever granted, that's kind of a stretch using the virtual tour, but maybe not, you know what I mean? Maybe not. To have that asset, and then when they come back, in person, you can check it out online on your phone. It's a huge asset to that business. I'm not going to say it's going to be like whether they live or die or survive the pandemic, but it's very important. So I do think you need to have that monthly management fee built in already, so you can help them, because a lot of small business owners, they don't know digital marketing at all, let alone a virtual tour. You know what I mean? So holding their hand a little bit and furthering on that relationship, it's definitely going to be a lot better than not. So those are the two things, like really how we structure our pricing. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, Joe actually also mentioned that she offers the service where a business, she actually goes on to the Google My Business listing for a couple of her clients and manages that and answers questions for customers, because customers will get on to Google and try to make an appointment through a comment, right? I mean, they do the craziest things that you would think, why would you use a comment in the Google My Business listing why wouldn't you just call me? But people do that. So you need to be there, to meet them basically, wherever they might be. So is that what you're talking about, where you can offer that as a potential service to customers long-term?
Yeah, for sure. So back to what we were talking about before with the Momentum digital model, which is digital marketing. Let's just say we're working with, again, a restaurant. We're shooting the virtual tour. We get everything done. We post it on Google My Business, and then we see, hey, the boiler room has like a 3.5 out of 5 rating on Google. It has not that much content posted. Let's see if we can get them hooked on like a $500 a month retainer where we manage this for them. And we're doing constant content. We're doing getting reviews from very happy clients. We're getting video testimonials of like them maybe even just taking a selfie or like a video, I don't know, and then posting it on there, making it all shiny, and then doing their social media, and then slowly but surely building that into a digital marketing retainer where we're doing everything, the website, their ads, all this kind of stuff. So that's what like an ideal customer persona, like a lot of HubSpot people who like have done the certification talk about. It's like, what's your ideal customer persona and journey? That's really it, honestly, in terms of the journey. But and this is the beautiful thing about Matterport, is there's so many different ways to do it. There's no set tried and true model. There's there's stuff that works for this person, that person, but there's always a lot of opportunities to, reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So we'll just have to see where the industry takes us in years come.
Yeah, for sure. So you said that about half your business is real estate, and the other half is these kind of more retail and establishments businesses that are looking for SEO gain as well. As far as the real estate, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are coming from that world. How do you differentiate yourself from your competition? Is it, because you're providing to real estate agents Matterport as a service, basically. Do you take it anywhere beyond that? Do you take advantage of SDK partners that we have to offer added value to the agents?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something with the SDK and the API integrations. We've seen this now more than ever, is using all these different types of things that I didn't even think were possible, quite frankly. But we're starting to see a lot of these applications getting more involved and creating a lot more success. And the number one thing I would say is really just the exposure of, okay, if you have, let's just say 10 agents on a team, we'd be able to cover that, no problem. So, with our contractor list, we'd be able to go in and shoot the tours, no problem, but then customize it with, custom SDK to that specific agent. And this way, if you post the Matterport tour with the SDK on there, some client or some buyer seller is going to be like, oh my God, I love what they did with this. Let's go ahead and go with this agent. But then it might be a little different from the other agent in that same team. You know what I mean? So I think it's really just based off of what they need and accommodating that inside of the team instead of just having a blanket one solution for the entire team, because everyone's different for the most part. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we do to stand out. And yeah, I would say that's the one best thing.
Do you pitch to brokerages or specific agents, or do you just do your SEO work online and kind of wait for more incoming contact?
Definitely a little.
Is it inbound marketing, or do you cold call brokers and say, hey, we'd like to do this for your firm?
So what I would say is, to answer your first question, that we started off doing just single agents and then being the retainer for that, like the one-stop shop, and then going from there and then pitching to the brokerage. Now we're really invested in brokerages reaching out to us and then us reaching out to brokerages. So in terms of the inbound, outbound, yes, Google's been a huge tool. I'd say about 75% of our business comes from Google. But the other percentage really comes from our sales team doing, Instagram DMing, setting up automated email campaigns specific to that person with a customized example, customized, one-time promo code that they can use to get that at cost price so we can show them value. So that's something especially that we've done. And I'll even, for the listeners, if you guys are listening right now, I would definitely take this information down. But the email system that we use right now, and this is something that's really helped us out. It's the one part to actually scrape the leads is D7 Lead Finder. That's like the software associated. And then the email software itself is called Mailshake. Okay. So D7 to find the leads, Mailshake to set up the campaigns. That is unbelievable. You guys will check this out after the webinar and be like, wow, this is incredible. So that's something from an outbound perspective that we've definitely utilized, and we still do. So again, it doesn't matter where you are, you can scrape leads, you can put together those optimized campaigns. But it's I would say currently, right now, Amir, we're really focused on a lot of brokerages, a lot of big ticket items that have hundreds of agents, and not just the volume play, but also getting a pretty sizable retainer for those brokerages for each individual agent for every single shoot.
And when you say Google outbound, you're just talking about Google ads. Basically, this is where you guys mostly advertise for as far as like outbound marketing.
Yeah, ads, email, like social media, DMing. And again, all this stuff I had to do, when I was first starting off, like sending out emails, doing a lot of cold calls.
Yeah, you'll find the agent online, their LinkedIn account or whatever, and just reach out to them. Say, hey, I'm Sean, This is what we do.
Yeah, this is my pitch right here. It's, hey, my name's Sean Boyle. I have this company, Momentum. We do virtual tours in your area. I see this 123 Pine Street on Zillow. It doesn't have a tour yet. It's been on the market for about 200 days. The property looks good. Let's do a tour. Let's see what we can do together. And then again, asking them who they are, getting to know them, building rapport goes a long way. But that's how I did it. And you just streamline that process, hire more people, and you go from there.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're actually on Zillow first, looking for homes that have not sold in a while and reaching out to those guys.
Yeah, we're on Zillow. We're on like Realtor.com. We're on the MLS. I mean, anywhere that we can try to gain an advantage and see, homes, especially for that 50% for real estate. 100% we do that.
Nice. That's awesome. Perfect. Brilliant. I've see the questions kind of coming in. Just want to make sure that we're not. So Kevin asked, what type of small businesses are you seeing use the virtual tours most?
What types of businesses? I mean, that's a really good question. It depends on the season, I would say. So from I don't want to go into the specific seasons, but we've seen a lot of restaurants, retail shops, especially schools, dealerships, especially my favorite in the Q&A video. My favorite tour that we've ever shot was McLaren Philly. It's unbelievable place. And but yeah, I would say those four are very, very high demand right now. But again, things are changing, so we have to pivot. We hit everybody. I mean, we work with pretty much every single niche that you can think of, but we know what we're doing in those niches to feel very confident to produce a great product that's going to work for them in order to get more leads. So I would say those four right now, I would say are definitely, in demand. Yeah.
Car dealerships seem to me like a good business that needs a virtual tour. Because the inventory doesn't change that often. And, once a year, maybe twice a year, something like that. I don't, know the business that well, but it seems like it would be, for me, going out there to buy a car, would like to have some questions answered. Man, I know as soon as I get into that dealership, I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 hours because they're just going to completely drain the life out of me. So to do that online would, for me, feel a lot more comfortable as a consumer, right? And I would assume that a dealership would like that. What was the reasoning behind McLaren, wanting that tour? What did they want to get out of it?
So McLaren really just wanted to show off their showroom, man. They have F1s. There was this green and white Richard Mille that I actually had the pleasure of sitting in with the wing doors and everything. So it was unreal of a car. And they wanted to essentially have that showcase model, tag the specific cars that they have, and then put that on their website so people can give them a call like you were talking about. Everyone, it's like the DMV, you know what I mean? It just sucks the life out of you, know what I mean? It's time totally wasted. But getting that, I'd say efficiency down and having to, maybe fill out a form with what you're looking for, then you get an email or call response. It just makes it a lot more efficient. And obviously that dealership's going to be making a lot more money with that. So yeah, I totally understand that. Dealerships are very, very hot right now. Yeah.
I know there are SDK partners, and we've had Treatise on the show who do, online sales, but there's Voiceable also is an SDK partner who does this very well, where through the model itself, you can reach out to a salesperson at the dealership, assuming it's within store hours, and talk to them. And you're looking, and they're, you're all kind of collaborating and looking at the same car in the same model. I would assume that a dealership would be kind of a no-brainer for them to get that done. Seems to me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be for us too, but some people have that old school mentality, we're going to do it the old tried and true way. But times are changing, and virtual tours are here to stay.
Times are changing, and new buyers, I think, are just feeling a lot more comfortable online versus taking the time to go into a store, even if it's not a car, if it's furniture or anything like that, and looking. And you want to have, I think, at least the experts kind of opinion and their feedback and information without actually taking the time to go into the store. And
yeah, I mean, like literally after we have this awesome call, I'm going to go ahead and order food. I'm not going to, and it's literally the place is downstairs. I'm going to go on my laptop, type it in Sweet Green and get a Java bowl or whatever, chicken with rice. I don't know. We'll see what I'm going to get. But yeah, everything's going online. You're exactly right.
Yeah, it just feels that way to me, at least. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions from our listeners. And thank you so much for sending in these questions. These are great. Let's see here. Okay, Kyle asks, what do you tell the client to do with a space once you've delivered it to them?
Can you say that again?
What do you tell the client to do with the space once you've handed it off, once you've given it to them? Is that something that you kind of give the client essentially? Do you say, hey, get your own account, free account or whatever? I will transfer this to you once I've tagged it all up and did the work that you paid me to do, and then it's on you. What do you tell them, or not, or do you just host it yourself?
Yeah, so if we're hosting it, it'll be on our account. We will send them a previewed model. If that client is not paying hosting, we'll say, yeah, let's create a Matterport account, and we'll still give them some type of consulting. I don't want to just leave them with the tour, but we'll send them either way a previewed model of what it looks like, and then we'll kind of discuss their goals of what they're looking to do, which we already did when we had like a pre-qualifying call to kind of say, okay, what is this tour going to look like? Here's what it's going to look like, but in terms of tagging, in terms of like optimizations, SDK, what's it going to look like? And what would you want? What's going to make, the most amount of money for your business and time, expense, like saving time. So once you have those questions answered, it's going to be a lot easier to then get that email back from the client. Say, okay, we're going to put a tag here. We're going to incorporate this type of software, and we're just going to totally optimize it. And then, post it on Google, obviously, post it on the website, obviously, social media, maybe like an ad campaign if they want to do something crazy like that. But yeah, it's that's really what we do. Send the previewed model first, and then we optimize it. You know what I mean? I don't believe that a single tour is the same. It's always going to be different, and we need to customize it. And that's the same thing for real estate. That's the same thing for automobile dealerships. It's going to be similar, but it's never going to be the same. I think that businesses, they need to stay unique. They need to stay creative. And with all these awesome features that you guys are coming out with, it's our job as MSPs to stay on top of that and to learn and to offer this to our clients. But that's normally what we do for, after we shoot and then delivery to optimize it.
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely some hand holding. You're not going to obviously leave them high and dry and say, okay, you got what you pay for. We're done here.
I might have did that for my dad, but no, not for our clients.
Do you ever see properties on the market for 200 days in this market? Yeah. John, it totally depends on the market. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. No, 200 days, not a single house is going to be on here for 200 days. I think in the city I live in, it was insane. The house just sold for $800,000 over the asking price. So totally different market. Just depends on where you're at. But this kind of goes to show maybe this network effect, right? You've got a network of MSPs and that you've collaborated with in other markets outside of your area. Maybe in my area, because homes go so fast, it doesn't make as much sense. But in other areas, that's obviously not the case. And yes, absolutely, sometimes homes are on the market for 2, 3, 4 months. So check out those areas and have an MSP locally willing to scan them, and you can provide the service remotely, basically. Did you mention a virtual tour course? Momentum is about to launch or has launched. Randall is asking. You have a course that you're putting through Momentum?
Yes, I do. So we have a course literally dedicated to starting up A to Z what I did to be successful in this business, especially with Matterport being that core software that you're going to use. Sure, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I use different softwares, but as a fundamental startup, I think Matterport is definitely something that we need. especially in terms of like how easy it is to shoot. But the course, which again, we're really busy, so I keep pushing it back, but it's going to be launched within these two first quarters of the new year. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to be giving free trials out to people that are looking to get into the business and to really just get a gauge of like, what's the feedback on this? Like, how can I improve the course? Because like I see a lot of people making courses now, like everyone gets advertised. So I just want to make this as like more like a legacy play, value play, and just all transparency to just show you literally what I do on a day-to-day basis, to go and run 360, from the ground up, which we did. So that's going to be released in the first 2 quarters. I'll send a sign up link.
Where just basically go to momentum360.com to get more information. Where should they go to get more information about that?
Yeah, if you want to get more information about that, what I would do actually is I'll put the email right here, so you guys
sign
can
up for it.
Yeah, so I would say if you guys are serious about getting more information about this course, I just put our email, info@momentumvirtualtours.com.
Brilliant.
So take a look at that and simply say interested in course, like make that the email signature. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, and definitely check it out. And there's also a video on my YouTube that has the link. So we'll go from there. But yeah, definitely.
Definitely check out the YouTube, as well as you're on Instagram. You're out there. I mean, Momentum 360. You can easily find them on LinkedIn, and I think that's super important to also understand as any new business owner is you got to get your face out there. You got to get on all these different platforms and just put yourself out there.
100%. I did have experience because I had a podcast in college that kind of like prepped me for making videos. But if you're a shy person and you're looking to get started, it's incremental gains. You know what I mean? Like I would just make maybe like a YouTube short or something that creates value, and then you can start getting into these long form types of content where you're speaking for minutes on end, and you don't sound like a complete fool like I do sometimes. But it's great. I mean, you need to have that authority. You need to make content in today's day and age to be, known as, I guess, somewhat of an authority figure. And right. Just like you said, put yourself out there.
Exactly. And answering questions and not, expecting that every video you make is going to, go viral and be the one that it's more putting yourself out there and teaching. And by teaching, I think you set yourself apart as an expert in the field, and that just is going to attract people to want to work with you.
Yeah, and it's not even about like, I don't really care about the amount of views I get. It's really just about the value. Like, here's the question, here's the answer. Like that's really what these videos are about. Sure, I mean, I might do like a fun video, like a Q&A where it was just like a fun little recap. We had like a flyer in the background on like my director's iPad, which is great. So we do funny stuff like that too. But yeah, man, it's just helping people out and making sure they're growing in the industry. That's really what I just try to make videos for, at least.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's great. That's brilliant. So Elias asked, how big can a store be? I think they're referring to the Matterport model itself. I mean, what's the largest business that you've scanned?
That's a good question. So the largest, I'd say, single spot that we've ever shot was actually across the pond, and it was in Prague. As a matter of fact, there was this, I think, it's on the S&P 500. This client, and we scanned like I think a 500,000 square foot facility. It was 2 floors. It was like a healthcare facility essentially, and it took multiple days. Yes, but it's something that it can definitely be done. I don't even know, quite frankly, in all honesty, the capacity of Matterport. If you can scan 1 million square feet, I'm sure it's been done. I think I've seen, on the Facebook group, people post that kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens. I mean, that's the biggest that I've ever shot. I hope I can get into that million square feet. I mean, we've gotten pretty close. So, but like for one specific scan, I definitely want to hit that million. But yeah, I'm sure it's definitely possible if you edit it properly.
Yeah, it just depends. A lot of it depends on the space, what's inside and so on and so forth. If it's like full of stuff, that makes it a little bit more complicated. But there is definitely work being done to allow those larger and larger. I mean, we obviously see the demand for very big spaces. There's a Home Depot scan, so you can imagine not only how kind of wide that type of warehouse is, but it is just full of stuff, and that makes the geometry of the 3D model much more complicated.
It's ironic you mentioned Home Depot because we're getting into one of those actually very, very soon. And nice. Again, like I don't know if we're going to have this ability, but like it's like, all right, guys, like let's clear these people out of here. Like I don't want to get any like scan alignment errors. You know what I mean? So you definitely need to set up the deal properly where you don't have that many people, hopefully no people except your person of contact when you go and shoot. And then mark the windows and stuff like that. But you guys already know that.
So sometimes, and especially those types of locations, you set it up with management, and you're there, at night when there are no customers, and that's how that goes.
Yeah,
it's possible. All right.
Yeah,
sounds good. Okay, so Tino said bigger scans are more complicated. Stairs, floors. Do you have any tips to scan these larger facilities? So when you're out there scanning some of these, hundreds of thousands of square feet, do you use April tags when you do that? Maybe sometimes it depends on the environment, I guess. What do you do?
The number one thing that I would recommend for scanning a place that's even like larger than, like, let's just say it's 5 figs, like 10,000 square feet, is get a tripod that has wheels on it. Doesn't matter how many floors it is, but get it. So when you do a scan, you're simply just wheeling it down, especially those long hallways. So you're saving time on that rather than picking it up and dragging it 5 to 8 feet, putting it down, doing the same thing. I mean, listen, you're going to get a good workout doing that, but like you're going to be exhausted. You're going to get frustrated if scans don't get in, and you need to stay focused at this job. You need to make sure that the first scan, the last scan is done, and executed perfectly. So that's what I would definitely recommend to do. That at least helped us out a lot, especially for that one shoot over across the pond. So I definitely recommend getting that.
Yeah, that's for anybody who's not familiar with that, it's a tripod dolly, and you can pick them up. It basically just kind of adjusts and fits depending on, I suppose, which one you get, but it can adjust and fit just about any tripod. It's not like a specific tripod that you need to get now, something new. It's just the dolly, the set of wheels that you set the tripod on. And yeah, that's actually a really, really good suggestion because, as probably our listeners know, this stuff can be time consuming. There's no question. We're not just going into each room, taking a single snapshot or even, 5 bracketed to create an HDR. This is fleshing out a 3D model of a building. It's a lot more time consuming than just traditional photography. Okay, great. So let's see, we only have like a few minutes left. So I just wanted to make sure that we get through as many questions as we can. I'm really, really happy to see all the activity going on in the chat. Great job. I've not had a chance to go through it, so not sure what's being said, but hopefully it's all been beneficial to you, our attendees. Okay, so Sean asked, what is the best form of marketing for an established photography service to get more 360 clients?
Definitely Google for sure. Sean, while I'm talking, if you want to list, if you like where you are, essentially, I can use that as an example. But let's just say, again, you're in New York City. I would start creating content around New York City to say, very strategically making blogs to say virtual tour services in New York City. And then, I don't know, maybe like Matterport services in New York City. And then slowly but surely, you'll pick up that SEO juice as Google indexes those blogs and your website for that matter as well. And then you'll start to get more local business. And then you can start to slowly expand, the tri-state area. But I would say optimizing the website, number one, that's how you go about, getting more traction on Google. Number 2 is writing blogs. And number 3 is getting links, good concrete backlinks. So your domain authority is increasing. And the people don't know what a domain authority is. It's essentially how strong your domain is. Google.com, that domain's 100 because that's a search engine. Everybody uses it, right? But some people might have a very low domain authority, which is fine, but you want to increase that over time. So Google indexes that as more authoritative. Thus, you're going to be getting higher rankings. Thus, you're going to be getting more business. So I would definitely recommend that, Sean.
Got it. Quick question. Somebody who's got like Sean or anybody who's got like a small business, more than likely they're working out of their home a lot of times, right? I mean, Momentum 360 actually has an office. So you, as say, have the advantage of having a Google My Business listing with, you can show off your office and get all these 360 tours and whatnot and kind of communicate. Could I, working out of my home, have a Google My Business listing? I would not be able to upload, 360 panels of it because it's my house and Google doesn't allow that. But I would, be able to communicate with potential customers through it. Could I not?
Absolutely. And we've utilized that in the past in certain areas. So what you're going to want to do, and this is very, very important, is when you're creating the Google My Business for a small shop, like a small, location that is actually your primary house, you're going to create it, but you're going to say the physical address is not going to show up on Google. Okay. You're still going to get that postal code. You're still going to confirm it. It's still going to say, let's just say Sean's Photography, whatever, the gentleman, Sean, who asked that question. And that's what it's going to show up on Google. It's going to say you're in this location, this is what you do, but it's not going to have the address, which again, it's your home. You have a family there. God forbid.
You don't want people showing up at your doorstep saying, hey,
right. Yeah, I mean, it's business, don't get me wrong, but not the house. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I would recommend. No PO boxes because Google doesn't allow that, but that's how I would do that if that's the situation that I'm in, is have Google say, listen, we're not going to put the address out there, but we're still going to create a profile. We're still going to get it processed and submitted. And, we're off to the races for that. So it's definitely something you can do for sure.
Nice. That's a good tip. Okay, a couple more questions. Let's see here. What equipment do you use for a virtual tour?
Maybe, there's a lot of different things. Specifically with Matterport, it's the Pro 2, obviously, and then maybe a BLK Leica, which that is the outside. It's a very, very expensive camera, but to scan outside spaces, that's what I would recommend. And then, like Amir was talking about earlier on, get that Dolly with the tripod that has wheels. It's going to save yourself a lot of time. And then there's a lot of other great cameras as well, like the Ricoh Theta Z1. If you don't have a Pro 2, which again, if you get a Ricoh Theta 5 or a Ricoh Theta Z1, it's to start off, to invest in the Pro 2. I would recommend getting that camera maybe first. And take those thousands of dollars and invest into Google, invest into starting up the business with the website rather than get the Pro 2. And then you can get the Pro 2 when you have, the I would say, necessary capital for that. So that's, I would say, what on a standard shoot we use.
Take it even a step further. I work with someone who got into Matterport when we launched smartphone capture for iPhone. Yeah. He actually shoots real estate with his own iPhone. He doesn't even have a 360 camera, let alone a Pro 2. And that is a good way to get started with hardly any money down, really. I would recommend using a tripod. So it's possible. Okay, we have a lot of questions coming in. Well, at least a few more that unfortunately we will not be able to get to. Hopefully, I'll see, what we can do about addressing these later. I wanted to just say thank you to Sean and give you just a second. As far as we talked about your YouTube channel and LinkedIn and kind of reaching out to you, discovering more information about the course, which I think should be awesome. I may even join that. Anything you want to finish off with last minute tips and tricks before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody who's from start to finish who's been on this. It's a pleasure to talk to you. It's very grateful for the opportunity. Amir, thank you so much. Charmaine as well. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever about the course, about getting started with us, send me an email at info@momentumvirtualtours.com. I'll send this again.
Yeah, we had it. It's in the chat for anybody who missed
Perfect.
it. John's gonna post it again.
Yeah, email us. We'll get back to you, no problem. Whether you want to be a contractor with us, whether you want to learn more for your own business, doesn't matter. We definitely can help you out with that. And you're more than likely going to be hearing from me as the one who responds to those emails. I like to have a personal approach, with that. But other than that, yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much. And yeah.
It's been really great. Truly appreciate your time this morning, Sean. Thank you so much for hopping on the call with me. Really appreciate all your expertise and knowledge. I hope that our attendees were able to get something. I mean, I'm sure they were able to get something out of it. And that's it. So really appreciate your attendance and all the questions, and Sean for taking the time today.
You got it, buddy.
All right. Take care.